How cute. Well, hello and welcome to this video. I'll be discussing DC's Wonder Woman. It's a gripping tale about how a leggy supermodel leaves her fantasy island to help Captain Kirk win World War I.
She's taking all the fire, let's go!
Now, for the purposes of this video, I'll be assuming that you've either already seen Wonder Woman or have absolutely no intention to. If that's not the case, don't watch this, it's full of spoilers, and the film is perfectly decent. It suffers from these typical problems that I feel all DC films have, namely beings of huge but ill-defined power and baffling motivation. This holds particularly true for their villains. There is plenty to like, starting with the character of Wonder Woman herself. They pull off the rather complicated trick of presenting her as naive but not stupid. She walks into every room as if she owns it, and she treats any example of sexism with the disdain that it deserves. Even the chemistry between Wonder Woman and Captain Kirk is often charming and amusing.
What's that?
It's a, it's a watch.
I like dick jokes too. So I even enjoyed how they ran roughshod over Greek mythology, presented in this kind of animated painting of exposition. From having Ares be the bad guy responsible for inserting evil into humans, to calling Wonder Woman Diana, who is strictly speaking from the Roman pantheon. I suppose calling her Artemis might have given the game away. But when Captain Kirk hears about all this Ares malarkey, he's skeptical from the start.
Only an Amazon can defeat him. With this. And once I do, the war will end.
Look, I appreciate your spirit, but this war it's a great big mess.
He actually shows a lot of compassion towards people who do bad things, suggesting that all of us are capable of evil, and hints at his own dark past. Quite sophisticated for a DC film. Sadly, the same compassion is not extended to the Germans, supposedly because DC can't handle the idea of an ambiguous enemy. The only Germans we get to know are evil General Man and Fritz Haber wannabe Dr. Maru, who's responsible for developing gas-based weaponry. Yeah, gas happened in the First World War, didn't it? And why humanize the Germans? They're a useful shorthand for evil, aren't they? Ignoring the fact that there aren't any Nazis in this war. Wonder Woman decides that the General Man is the current incarnation of Ares, with no real evidence other than he's a very bad man, and resolves to murder him. She figures that by killing Ares she will eliminate all war for mankind. This whole theory seems entirely harebrained from the start. Destroy this one figure and all war is ended? The problem is that from our perspective, we know that this can't be it because there's a reason why we've affixed the number 1 to World War I. Despite the many protestations of Captain Kirk, who has the rather reasonable opinion that they should focus on stopping the development of the gas weapon, thereby saving hundreds of thousands of lives, Wonder Woman is hell-bent on killing her mark. She ignores every plan, choosing, for example, to stroll across no man's land and save a village, trivializing the whole First World War in the process. All those millions of souls who died during the Great War must feel like right chumps now. What idiots. In the end, she finds her man and ruthlessly impales him like the animal that he is. And yet, nothing happens. The war is still on. She simply can't believe it. This is where things start to go downhill. Kirk tries to get Wonder Woman to help him stop the gas weapon, but she can't believe her plan didn't work. This blinkered devotion completely runs counter to what's been established about her so far, as an open, intelligent person able to take in new information with barely a blink. But now she turns into a blubbering idiot who can't deal with the idea that a plan based on a fairy tale hasn't worked out.
What are they doing?
I don't know.
Ares
I know
is dead. They can stop fighting now. Why are they still fighting?
That's because maybe it's them. Maybe people aren't always good. Ares or no Ares.
Captain Kirk makes some good points here. But this slightly nuanced idea has barely a chance to breathe before da-da-da! It's revealed that Wonder Woman was right, but she'd picked the wrong guy to murder. It's this guy. This is so upsetting to me for multiple reasons. beyond the obvious offence to my motherland that once again in the Hollywood movies, the guy with the British accent.
You were right, Diana. They don't deserve our help.
But because throughout the movie I feel like a message has been presented only to undermine it all for the sake of a climactic battle scene. It plays into the stupid idea of the scapegoat responsible for all our woes. Wouldn't it be nice if there was just one guy to blame? But obviously the world's more complicated than that. In a way, we're all kind of to blame. Wait, hang on a second. I've heard these words recently. Oh yeah, it was in this bloody movie.
You don't think I wish I could tell you that it was one bad guy to blame? It's not. We're all to blame.
Nope, no, we're not all to blame. It's just Ares. So why do they contradict themselves? Was the cool helmet in the painting of exposition a kind of Chekhov's gun and had to be shown before the credits? Whoa, that is actually kind of cool. But in any case, does DC believe the audience can't handle the story beyond basic good versus evil? And this is the problem with Ares. He's an incredibly powerful god who has decided to wipe out all humans. Instead of using his superpowers to do so, and he looks like he's more than capable of doing it, he decides to subtly influence the Prince Harbor lady. Then he changes his mind and decides to recruit Diana instead, which is just idiotic. None of it makes any sense, and his motivations are not relatable. This guy is just evil, and to make things worse, incompetently so. There are so many things they could have done. They could have stuck to the idea that humans just have evil in them, Ares or no Ares. This would explain the impending World War II, for example, and justify Diana's continued need to fight for justice. Or maybe it could be revealed that Ares does exist, but he's not responsible for making us warlike. In fact, maybe he was ejected from Mount Olympus for having the temerity to inform Zeus of the warlike nature of his creation. But no, instead we get a senseless battle between gods. Granted, it looks great, but there are no stakes because I have no idea how powerful these individuals are. She can fly, he can fly, they run around. I mean, look at this. She's absorbing his electricity somehow. What's happening? Is this an episode of Dragon Ball Z? Anyway, Ares is defeated, and peace is brought back to the world. Until the next war, I guess? This final scene is so annoying because it makes no sense in relation to history, and even to the film's own narrative. What a load of wank. Obviously I've thought way too much about this film, to the extent that I've made this bloody video about it. Please let me know in the comments if you disagree with what I've said. And before I go, I have to give kudos to a couple of YouTubers who inspired me to make this video in the first place. First of all, I recently watched a whole bunch of videos from a guy who calls himself I Hate Everything. I particularly enjoy his Search for the Worst series. I think this video is a case of monkey see, monkey do, and his stuff is much better than mine. Have a look. Similarly, a guy called Media Zealot made a very entertaining video about just how stupid the denizens of Krypton are in Man of Steel. I couldn't have put it any better than him. Enjoy!